The next thing we're going to do is just a very quick website tour, just to give people a brief overview of what it is and what the feel is. I would greatly encourage people to just come and play. Try it out. If you have any questions, we're always available. We really want to make this something that is used by the community. And again, it's yours. It's your tool. It's owned by you guys. So I'm going to start it off by, I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. We'll go back to here. And I'm actually just going to be going over an overview of the first of 5 pages or pages of this website. And the one I'm specifically going to be just giving a very brief tour on is what we call the emission level. This is where we'll see kind of the real-time snapshot of what's going on and what's happened in the past 24 hours. So every chemical we look for will have a little indicator with it. If there's no detection, there really isn't an indicator as to what the air quality is at the time. But if there is something, it will go from excellent to very poor. So we can go down here and take a look at some of the more active data here, including, for example, ozone and PM 2.5. And each of these graphs, what we have is at the very top, first off, to the far left, there's actually a little dial from 0 to 100 that is 100 being it's at what we call the OEHA level. That is the exposure level that is considered harmful by the state of California. So you have a little dial that tells you where you are on this range from 0 to 100. It also tells you what the current value is. And you can also see in the graph the past 24 hours, and you can just track it with your cursor. And it will also tell you, at the bottom here, these arrows are telling you which way the wind's blowing. So if, let's say, you're looking at PM 2.5 and you see that, it's getting close to what would be the OEHA level, this is when you might want to consider, do I want to go out, if I'm an at-risk population or children or elderly or people with respiratory problems, you might want to consider looking at that and saying, well, maybe I should change my plans or change how I want to approach, what I'm doing these days. If you want to get a little more information on each of these, all you have to do is hit the read more. And this will actually tell you a much larger level, deeper level of description as to what each of these pollutants actually does to you physically. And again, this updates itself every 5 minutes, so it's a continuous data stream of data. And it's a great tool for just being able to look, how was the last day? How was the last, and interesting, I think the really interesting times are when you get into, like when you have forest fires or where there's an event at, a large pollution source and the plume is coming directly towards the air monitoring equipment. That's certainly when you'll see these things spike.
Hi, it's Kathy Carriage.
Yep.
And I just want to draw your attention to the map view. First off, you can zoom in or out, and when you zoom out a little bit, you can see this is where our station is, right here. And you're able to see that we're really, just sort of downwind from a lot of these big refineries. And we're across the bay from the 2 refineries and the chemical plant in Martinez. If you zoom in a little bit, you can get a little bit more bird's eye view of where we are in Benicia. This is the refinery, the asphalt plant, the tank farm. Here's the buffer zone. We're also very close to the port. This is the Army wharf, and that's where Valero ships out products, and also where crude oil comes in, and this is where pipelines come in. This is the dock where there's a Petcoke, and that's the subject right now of a recent lawsuit from Baykeeper. And here are the Petcoke silos, which you can also see over my shoulder. We're close to railroads and freeways, and all of those, of course, can be sources of air pollution. A couple other things that are cool about this is if you click on the site itself, you can sort of get an instant read of all the chemicals and of the air direction. So right now you can see it's coming from the northwest heading to the southeast. A couple other things, you can see the terrain view or the street view, or of course this is my favorite, the satellite view. Maryland is going to talk about the data history, and that's the next tab over.
This tab allows you to see trends. What Dawn had explained in the first page, where you get the 24-hour report of emissions. And remember, emissions are recorded every detections are recorded every 5 minutes, 5-minute intervals. In this case, you can see what has happened over 7 days and as many as 30 days. If you wanted to do more analysis of, say, several months worth of data, Argos, as our contractor operating the system 24/7, and the website, they will be able to do analytics to determine what those trends are based on what you see here, adding up to longer detection lengths of time. So that would be a special kind of analytics that would have to be requested of Argos. It's not something that they would be doing on a routine basis, but up to 30 days is pretty incredible considering for all of us during fire season. We know how many days we spent in fires in the last 3 years, and this would give you some opportunity to see how this system detects, let's say, PM 2.5 during fires, and even compare it to purple air monitors that we have around town, and when we go to purple air to check in. Thank you.
Okay, so our next tab here is report an issue. And under report an issue, actually the first thing we've got is places you can sign up for alerts. This is a really quick and easy way to sign up for alerts from Solano County and sign up for notifications from the city. The city can notify you when there's been flaring or other events at Valero. This is probably the easiest way to get to that. And then we have different places where you can report an incident. And we would suggest that you report to all 5 places. And these are direct links to those report sites. And as you can see, we have Airwatch Bay Area, our fire station, Bay Area Air Quality Management District, Valero, and there's a phone number to call with Valero, and California Air Resources Board. Our final tab is resources, and Marilyn is going to explain a little bit about that.
The resources button allows people to do a slightly deeper dive for information that might not be immediately relevant to you. If you were finding a spike and you wanted to know something immediately, you would have to be a little bit resourceful and look for help through this button. And this button is under development. That means that community members can make suggestions about what other resources might be included. Under the first heading, Connect with Bay Area Community Organizations, Campaigns, and Resources, you can find out what other groups are doing, what they signal as important for community members to know about. We have people in Vallejo who are organized with the Citizens Air Monitoring Network. We're paying particular attention to, say, Phillips 66 conversion to a biofuels project. And this is under, advisement now with an EIR now being reviewed. And so being in touch with how other people are dealing in fence line communities with similar problems is very important about air quality. Health risk information is available primarily through California Air Resources Board, which is called CARB for short. That's a division of Cal EPA. And within Cal EPA, you will find the Office of Air, let's see, Office of Environmental, it's called OEHA, right, Don? It's Office of Health Hazardous Assessments. I always forget this, it's too hard. We will have that on this website soon, this button, but
Office of
really,
Environmental Health Hazard
Assessment. Thank you very much. There it is, right up front on our first button. The main thing is that if you want to know more about what's in our air and what the particular health risks are associated to particular chemicals, you would go to EPA, start with CARB, and go to OEHA site. Thank you very much. And also, at the bottom, we do cite that we have a memorandum of understanding that the city holds between Benicia and Valero, and that's worth knowing about and what we can expect. And the cooperation agreement that they signed to improve communication between the refinery and the community. And so BCAMP can help serve that memorandum because we will have verifiable data, which is really important when you're talking about evidence-based science and making sure that we have quality assurance so that we can develop public trust around what we hear and what we experience. Thank you very much.